The following is a Papi Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Papi Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to Horror Hotel, a PapiChuloRadio.com original series, Papi Chulo Radio, Pop Culture on Demand. I am your host and hotel owner, Jeffrey Aruz. We're so glad you could check in. We've been dying to have you. Here on Horror Hotel, we're going to explore some of Hollywood's scariest, most frightening, and creepiest films. Please welcome my co-hosts, Night Manager, Legionnaire.
You're screaming like that over a spider?
Yeah, pretty much. Concierge Supervisor Cynthia Boyede.
Hello.
Night Auditor Mark Estes.
Hello.
And Guest Services Supervisor, Service with a Smile, Donovan Trott.
Turn the damn lights on.
Okay. Before we head on over to the ballroom, let's stop by the front desk where one of our bellhops has a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Please step all the way in, and make room for everyone. There's no turning back now. I didn't mean to frighten you prematurely. The real chills come later. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Papi Chulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube, at Papi Chulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit papichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@papichuloradio.com. Help support Papi Chulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/papichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Papi Chulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@papichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Papi Chulo Radio programs by visiting papichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Papi Chulo Radio's Horror Hotel, and subscribe. Now, grab some popcorn and some snacks. You may step into the ballroom. It's time for your feature presentation.
Thank you. It's time to fire up the film projector in our ballroom so that we can discuss 2007's Paranormal Activity. Here's the official synopsis of the film. After moving into a suburban home, a couple becomes increasingly disturbed by a nightly demonic presence. It's very vague. All right, everybody.
Oh,
Aww.
Wow.
that's a good start.
Well, y'all know my question. Had you ever seen 2007's Paranormal Activity before? And so that we can keep him awake, let's ask him first. Donovan.
Yes, unfortunately, I've seen this movie before.
Oh,
Cynthia.
yes. Fortunately, I've seen this movie before.
Ain't nothing fortunate about it.
Mark.
Yep.
Legionnaire.
I have.
And I had as well. Actually, I remember seeing this in the movie theaters.
Oh, you was one of them?
I was. And if I recall correctly, they had a gimmick the first month it was out in theaters. Like, people could request it to come to their city, and I remember, like, a group of friends of mine and I were really excited when it was in Miami, and so we went to see it on a Friday night to a packed theater, and a bunch of people walked out halfway through it. Donovan probably was one of them.
I'm sure I was one of them.
Yes. Some people, it's a very slow movie, which I guess we'll discuss that, and a lot of people were not approving of it. So okay, found footage. This is what we are dealing with Paranormal Activity in a different sort of way, or in a similar yet different sort of way than the Blair Witch Project, which I guess is sort of considered, at least modern day wise, as sort of like the found footage film. But it wasn't until many years later, almost a decade later, that Paranormal Activity came out, and this is the one that sort of triggered several found footage movies to start popping up. Like, this was the one that really started the trend, I would say. So let's get into it. It's a story about a haunted house. We've seen stories like this before, but it's using the found footage genre to express it. So we start off the movie with a disclaimer, to make it seem real. We thank the families for cooperating and blah, blah, blah. And we see a lot of footage shot on home video, like shot like on a home video camera. There's at some point when we see like security cameras, nanny cams, and that kind of stuff that are installed to see what's going on in the house. What did you all think of the usage of found footage in sort of telling this story about a haunting in a house? Let's start off with someone who I think liked it. So, Cynthia, we'll go to you first, and then Donovan will give the rebuttal.
I think it was really great because usually when they do movies about like hauntings and demonic possessions, it's usually from like, it seems like it's like a retelling of something you've heard before. So it
A
seemed
tale as
made
old as time.
true as something something. Wow, I need to watch Disney movies again. Yeah, but it just seemed like realer, more realistic than
It seemed
someone else.
realer?
Yeah, ish. Not real like, oh, I believe this happened. It just seemed like it was their story and they were telling it firsthand, and we got a glimpse into these people's lives. And what also helped was that the video quality wasn't that great, so it made it look like a
Realer.
vlogger is just like walking around and talking about their life is what I gleaned from.
Very Joanne the Scammer.
Yeah.
Get out of my Caucasian house. That's what they should have said to the demon. I got Donovan to laugh. All right.
It's a dumb movie.
Oh gosh, Donovan.
It's not that bad.
Oh, okay.
Talk
Look,
to me about the usage of found footage.
All right, so you mentioned the warning or the thank you at the very beginning of the film. Can I just say that there is, if you sit to the end of the credits, there's another bookend to that. Basically, I guess by law, they have to say, none of the events you just watched were real, blah, 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 blah. So it's like...
Yeah, they do that, though, and I think every movie. It says, the if anyone's names or whatever...
Well, no, this was a different one, though. This was a different one because so much of the marketing around this film, I think, was... I mean, This movie is only entertaining if you think that this is real or it might be real. Like, that's pretty much the only way any of what you're watching could be semi-interesting. Like, if you know this is a movie that, these are actors and blah, 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 if you go in knowing that, this movie is so bad. It's so boring, so silly. It was just bad. And like the reason I brought up the disclaimer at the end was because they had the one in the beginning, and it's like the whole hype around this movie was, is it real? Is it not real? Blah, blah, blah. And then at the very end of the movie, like, well, actually, no, it's not real. Like, so it was just like so silly to me. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier that the synopsis was kind of vague. So is the movie. The whole thing is vague. Nothing happens the whole time. I don't like these people. I don't like this couple. There's only 4 people in the movie probably because they couldn't afford any more actors. And it was
my gosh.
It was a mess. The video quality wasn't great, like Cynthia said, but it wasn't great because they didn't have money for better equipment. Like, I get that it's a found footage movie, but even in the Blair Witch, you heard everything clearly. In this movie, half the time they're like, oh my God, did you hear that? And I'm like, I didn't hear anything. And I'm sitting in the theater with surround sound, and I didn't hear it. So, like, if you're hearing something, I should be able to hear it. It's just, I mean, it was all silly. Nothing happened till the end, and even then it was stupid. I didn't like it.
Someone is very pissed.
It's a waste of time. This movie was a waste of time. It really
Bitter
was.
party of one.
This movie was a very successful marketing campaign and nothing more.
But what about when they put the flower on the floor and there were hooves?
Child, if you get out of here with this silliness.
Okay. Mark, what about you? Found footage, was it effective to you?
After Donovan's rant, I feel I'm the person to try to raise their finger up and try to get a word in, but it's like, But at the time, the story, I was like, like you said earlier, Jeff, when, you hear the whole advertisement to get it brought to your city, of course, they bring it to mine because we didn't have a theater here.
Aww.
But I eventually did see it on DVD when it first hit. I thought it was effective. However, there were moments where you kind of like looking at the screen like, but why are y'all doing it? Like, you have to get like the constant recording and telling the story through like, camera footage, like, surveillance footage and stuff like that. And just everything just seemed to be convenient. This is like this. Whoever found the tapes, you had to figure out how do they piece together this cohesive story. You see what I'm saying? Because you found tapes. Now,
oh yeah, all the angles.
All these angles, and how did you know to piece everything together, and like what story you trying to tell? And the only inkling of a possibility for the reason why all this shit is going on is when they find that one picture that was like, it's kind of like, oh, so this demon must have something to do with her past, but at the same time, they really didn't answer that. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because at the time, the studio had to have been thinking that they had a franchise in their hands. And that's why they kind of withheld so much information. And now, granted, I've always believed the logic that the less you know, the more scary a story or a horror movie is. But in this case, that logic did not apply because it still didn't make any sense. It's just like, oh, shit's happening inside the house. Why haven't y'all not got up and left yet? Like, why are y'all still there recording? It just seems like if I notice that something's going on, I'm not going back home. I personally don't want to take anything out the house with me except for the clothes in my bed because I don't know if the spirit might want to possess something and travel with me or something like that. I don't know. It took me out. But at the time of when I watched the movie for the first time and then noticed there was a sequel coming out, and, I was like, okay, I'm here for the mythology. I'm just trying to see where the story is going. But to be honest, I told everybody after the second one came out, watch Paranormal Activity along with the second movie. It didn't all make sense, but the fact that I got to tell people that, it kind of speaks volumes. I hope that made a lot of sense. So.
But
Well,
they
they
did
couldn't leave
explain.
The psychic told them, the psychic guy that came in to look at the house said that the house is not haunted, you're haunted. So they couldn't just leave because it would have followed.
Okay, that's a plot point I completely forgot because at that time I was like, leave your girlfriend maybe?
Yeah.
Something like,
I thought the same thing.
Just go get yourself cleansed.
Just leave your loved one to deal with this on their own.
Yeah, but like they're not married. It's easy to just go, like just break up.
Yeah, maybe it's a ghost telling y'all should be together before marriage anyway. Y'all live in the house like y'all married. I'm just saying, I'm just playing. I'm playing.
I'm not playing. Leave your girlfriend.
Well, he would have been alive.
Mm.
Yeah. Legionnaire, what about you? What did you think of the usage of found footage?
When I saw it, I thought, I was like, oh, okay, how very Blair Witch like. But I think it worked. I think it worked for the movie overall. It plotted very slowly, so I lost interest very quickly, unfortunately.
Okay. I didn't mind the usage of the found footage. I mean, it is kind of interesting if you really think of like the grand scheme of things, kind of like how Mark mentioned it. Like somebody had to like piece all this together, all these different cameras, all these, the different means in which they're filming everything, and like they pasted together a cohesive story of like demonic possession and a haunted house and
Well, you just followed the dates it was recorded by, right?
That is true, but like to clip out like the right moments, you know what I'm saying? Somebody had to watch a lot of footage.
A lot of footage.
I feel like this is the type of movie where half of it is just nothing happening. So apparently they didn't clip out enough.
Oh gosh.
But I was
sitting there half the movie.
But I would say this with like any type of found footage movie, even the VHS movies that came out. It's like,
VHS.
Who found these tapes? And what possessed y'all to put all this together? It's like to me, it's like what
Cynthia.
Are you trying to get,
Cynthia found it, and she put it together.
Yeah, I wanted to share the love.
Yes.
Well, we return to Santa because I don't want no demons in my house. but it goes back to the Blair Witch Project, and I'm gonna compare and contrast these two for just a second. Blair Witch, they pieced all the information together in that movie because you knew at the end of the movie it was like the cops found this footage, and they pieced it together. You see what I'm saying? It's like they trying to figure out like, okay, this is what the footage we found, and maybe that was also date stamped or whatnot. But we all knew that these girls were missing. These girls, these
young ladies.
Yeah, these young ladies in the woods.
These filmmakers were gone, and they've been gone for so many years. And that's the setup. But Paranormal Activity is just like, here's some found footage.
Basically,
you have to ask yourself like, what's the why? So it's like, but we found these tapes though, but why? Like, what happened before and after?
What if the sister found it?
So what?
The sister. What if she found it?
She don't come until the second movie.
And she died. No,
Spoiler alert to the listeners.
Well, I mean, I am a big spoiler phone type person, but I would just say this. I'm
she doesn't really die, listeners. She's alive in our hearts.
Yeah, but
the actress died, not the character.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Even worse. Because I remember the boyfriend, Nika, mentioning that he was...
Micah Brzezinski.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking Empire and Nika. Anyways.
Okay, yes.
He was mentioning... He mentioned editing the videos.
But who was he editing for? I guess it goes back to, like, who's
the criminologist.
But even still, just like, that's the only... Every time I watch a found footage movie, I'm like, okay... I need the gist of why you found these tapes. Now, VH1 had a good cohesive argument. These people bumped into these tapes and they just watched them as they that made sense. Blair Witch Project.
Did you call it VH1?
I said VHS.
Okay, VHS, yes. For some reason, I think I heard VH1, but maybe you didn't say that.
No, you
Maybe
thinking
I'm just
about
thinking about
you thinking
VH1.
about Love Hip Hop right now. You probably trying to sit back and watch it, but
What he's saying is
Cardi
like,
B?
what Mark is saying is like true. Like, all right, found footage is a framing device. It's a way to tell a story, but it is not the story itself. And in the Blair Witch Project, the framing device was the cops. These kids went missing. The cops found this footage. Here it is. So you have a periphery. You know what context this is happening in. With this movie, that little clip it or snippet or whatever that you get at the very beginning, the disclaimer is all you get. And it literally says, thank you for the cooperation of the blah, blah, blah family and the blah, blah, blah family. And that was it. That was all you got. So it failed because they didn't build anything up around it, you know?
Well, there you go.
yeah.
Let's discuss the pacing of the movie. Because as I mentioned, like I went to see this in theaters and I wouldn't say halfway through the movie, but like a good 40 minutes into the movie, I think people started to leave. Well, let me rephrase that. People did start to leave, and I think it's because of the pacing of the movie. Like, I'll be honest, like I was enthralled by the movie the first time that I was watching it because like these type of movies, like haunted houses, demonic possessions, those are the types of scary movies that creep me out. I'm not that creeped out by, I guess, real stuff, for lack of a better word. Like movies like Saw, or at least nowadays, like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and that kind of stuff. It doesn't really get me, but like haunted house movies and possession movies, or like really creepy alien abduction movies, like the stuff that you don't know if it's real is the stuff that kind of creeps me out. So I was like into the story, but I completely agree, especially upon rewatching it, that it is very slow in the beginning. Like I don't think we get our first real haunting until like 30 minutes into the movie, maybe.
And what was that, a chair moved?
The door opened and
The door.
closed.
Yeah.
Lord.
That's how many times I've watched the movie.
That's when I would have got up and left. When I was like, that door moving is it. I'm done. Get my purse. I'm done.
Yeah, it was like 20 minutes into the movie, the door moving. Yeah, that was like the first thing, but it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of getting to know the couple. It can
Boring
be
couple.
it can be a bit
They had
monotonous.
sex.
But I feel like, and as someone that actually enjoys the movie, I think that seeing them do almost like the mundane is what, well, what is supposed to endear us to them, so that once you can
Yeah, but
rebuttal
they
in a
were
moment,
horrible characters.
like once the crazy stuff is happening, then you're supposed to sort of like feel for them. I think maybe no.
Okay, so no crazy stuff
I
ever.
co-sign
Yeah.
it. I co-sign it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Mark.
Yeah. I can get with that.
But let's talk
I
about the
can get
pacing,
with
because
the
I know
idea.
Legionary, you had a problem with the pacing.
Yeah, it was just a lot. I mean, yeah, I mean, I recognize it as being set up, but there was a lot of time, before we really got any kind of real action as to what was going on. And it just, I don't know, it was really hard to stay interested even when things started happening for me.
Yeah, they're not the most interesting of people.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was like if there was something like really interesting about their relationship that we could have, seen or lived through before things really started happening, then that would have made it a little more palatable. But, as a couple, they weren't that interesting.
Donovan, let's get the negative first.
Negative of what?
The pacing.
I mean, in order for there to be pacing, there has to be a plot or something needs to happen at some point. Like nothing happened at any point. It was just a mess.
So Katie just had a bad case of gas throughout the whole movie.
Basically, like
That was some
like,
big-ass burrito she ate.
All right, so the characters were not developed in such a way to where you gave any fucks about them. Like, her boyfriend, Mika, was so annoying the whole movie. He was just so, like, and it wouldn't have been so bad if these people were interesting, or maybe they had interesting lives, or you saw them outside of the house at some point. But the fact that you're stuck in a house with these two people who are so basic and so annoying, I just did not care. I don't care what happens to you.
Oh,
Seriously.
Basic. Oh, I love it.
oh.
Wow. Cynthia?
Okay. So pacing. I think what they were trying to do was like make it more realistic. Most couples don't have like exciting lives day to day. I don't think. What am I? Who am I to know? I'm single. But
Aw.
they don't have like interesting like fun. What?
Nothing.
You guys,
The shade.
if you're listening to this and you're into my voice, call me.
Ooh. 1-900 Cynthia. From
Lord.
midnight to 4 a.m., it's only $4.99 a call.
It is. It's pretty reasonable.
But for the 1 in 5 million, it's free.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. What was I saying again? Oh yeah,
I don't even
pacing.
remember. You just threw her off. Don't you hate him, Cynthia?
He's the worst.
The pacing.
Oh,
Our pacing is everywhere tonight.
Okay, pacing. Yeah, I think they were trying to make it feel more realistic. And yeah, I agree with you guys. The characters were not likable at all. Neither one of them was likable. Micah was doing too much, and then she was doing nothing at all. Like she's like, oh, I'm just going to wait. Let's wait and see. Oh, Micah, what are you doing? Don't do that. Okay, let's go now. I'm like, what are
Turn
you
the
doing?
camera off, Micah.
Yeah, turn it off. Okay.
Wait, is Katie here?
Wait, I hope not. I like you. You're nice. Yeah, but like, yeah, I get what you mean by pacing. But also looking at it from like a spiritual, demonic movie kind of makes sense because from what I've seen in movies about demons, they toy with you first. So they make you think like, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not really here. It's all in your mind. And then they just pop out of anywhere. So it made sense.
No, go ahead.
Oh, are you a demon?
He just popped out of nowhere.
What I was going to say is that, to Cynthia's point, demons do typically in these types of movies, they play with you a bit before they possess you. But this bitch got possessed like 3-4 times before the end of the movie. So I'm like, what is this demon doing? Like, do you want to possess her or no? It's like he's jumping in, jumping out, jumping in, jumping out. Like,
Well,
I don't get it.
Like a Destiny's Child song.
jump in, jump in. Demons,
Yeah.
leave your man at home. The club is full of ballers and their pockets are full grown.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Even the demon was born. All he did was move some chairs and set a Ouija board on fire. Like, please. That's
Mark,
all you got?
give us some
But that's
pacing.
fair enough.
Before he bit her in the back.
Yeah.
Her man probably
That was
did
a
that.
serious
Oh
hickey.
God.
That was Mika.
Mark, give me some pacing.
Pacing, basically I would agree with everybody on both sides of the argument. I am with the camp of taking some characters and putting them in mundane, like you said, Jeff, put them in like, everyday situations, stuff like that, to get to know them, to get to love, to care what happens to them later on in the movie. But it don't take 20 minutes to do all of that. And then on top of that, if you're stuck inside the house, then you're not getting to know them outside the house. You only get to know them there as the supposed paranormal activity is happening. And to be honest, I thought that both of them were annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And because
they
towards
were.
the end of the movie, I was like, oh damn, that's fucked up. We got to the end of the movie, I was like, oh damn, that was fucked up. But I was just intrigued as to why the demon was still trying to fuck with them. But it's like when you get to the end of the movie and that's when the movie gets interesting, it's really a little bit too late. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be honest, I've only seen the first movie once. And I didn't see the point of going back and seeing it again after I saw the second one. Because like I said, it's good to watch actually the first three all together. And I think they did that. They pieced them together just like they did the Godfather trilogy, where they cut them, they
Yeah,
made
this
them
is exactly like the Godfather trilogy.
in terms of like the chopping up of how they did it. Now you know that this is like apples and oranges, but they chopped up the Godfather trilogy and gave us like they put it in sequential order, so I'm trying to say. And they did the same thing. It's a supercut of a Paranormal Activity 1 through 3 where they put them in order of events, if I'm trying to say, to make the story make sense. So, because again, if you just watch this movie by itself, you're going to be left like, I don't know why, the why. So no matter how much the pacing they sat there to give us a carrying bone about Mika and Katie, the why was not there. Like, why should we care for them? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is this stuff happening to them? It just did not work looking back. But at first, I was just, like I said, and I was enthralled about the mythology, the little morsels of mythology that we got in the first movie. But yeah, the pacing wasn't going to save it here or there. I just think that a lot of, like you said, Jeff, you was like, everybody's so caught up in the hype that, you know, but once that hype dies down, then all the plot holes start forming and stuff like that. And no matter if they gave us some action all throughout the movie, it still would have, like, you know, done anything. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So I know that we've kind of discussed a little bit about it already, but I feel like we should have an actual conversation about it because they are the stars of the movie. I mean, they are the co-leads. I mean, there are, I think, 2 other actors in the movie, right? Besides them?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Katie and Micah. What did we think of them?
Boring. Dumb.
Like Micah, you're basically the rich one. You could have left her. Like, excuse you, leave that woman alone.
I
They
like that.
said-
That's the reason you think he's dumb.
Because he's the rich
There are
one.
many, there are many more reasons. First of all, they said, don't talk to the demon. What does Mr. Man decide to do? Hey, it's been really quiet here. We're not scared. What are you doing? Then something scary happens. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to do exactly what they said I shouldn't do. I'm going to go get myself a Ouija board and then talk to this demon. And then
Can we talk about the name Toby?
I was so over that name. Like, so they eldered it. I'm like, oh. I was like, why Toby?
you know what's funny? That's my brother's name.
Oh.
Now,
Oh,
I like Tobias, but I don't like Toby. Now, I don't know if Toby is a short form of Tobias. I've never known that, though. But if it's Tobias, I like it just
If
like
you're
that.
white, it's a short form of Tobias. If you're Nigerian, it's a short form of Oluwatobi.
Okay.
I like the Nigerian version.
I like both.
You're welcome.
this damage control.
Oh my gosh.
I like Toby, Cynthia. It's a nice name.
Thank you. I named him. No, I didn't.
Okay. So any other thoughts on Katie and Micah?
Basically.
Or
I
Toby?
have thoughts on them. They're just so nothing. They're just ugh.
They didn't get, again, it's just like, you didn't get much from them. It's just that they were I'm doing air quotes, happy couple, that all of a sudden shit just starts to happen for no apparent reason. And that's all you get. And that's all you had to work with for the whole, hour, 15, 20 minutes of the movie?
But see, here's the thing. They weren't well drawn out. The characters, yeah, they were mundane, sort of everyday people, but who wants to go to a movie theater and watch mundane everyday people. We go to the movies to be excited and to be interesting. And yes, exciting, interesting things can happen to mundane people, but nothing exciting or interesting happened in this movie, if you ask me. So then if the bulk of the film is going to be in these moments where nothing happens, you need to give us some interesting people to look at. Because if you got boring people in boring situations, it's going to be a boring damn movie. I'm sorry. It just was. And talking about pacing earlier, the movie that popped into my head, there's a difference between pacing and boring. Halloween had some very slow pacing to it, but stuff was still happening. It was a Monday day for her, but things were happening, and there was a feeling and all of that. So it can effectively be done that, you have a very ordinary day, and then there's like this sinister element thrown in. This was just like born on top of born with something thrown in at the end way too late.
He tried to throw something in the sex scene, if we could call it that. I don't know what that was. And after he's like, oh, this girl's a freak. And that's all we got. So
Yeah.
I'm just giving that to you. Hold on to it next time you watch it.
I'm going to use that as my ringtone.
I'm just going to say this. I know we talk about this one, though, but I just want to throw this out here. I felt like since we talk about pacing, I felt like the second movie had way better pacing than the first one did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, I saw snippets of the second movie, and I don't agree.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about The Haunting. Now, let's pretend, because it is found footage, so let's pretend this was real, and you are living in that house, and you are experiencing what they are experiencing. Now, we are all people of color. There seems to be some sort of thing with Caucasian people where they seem to tolerate a lot more than a lot of us would. So, when would you have left the house?
Am I the haunted or the spouse of the haunted?
Either or. It's all kind of the same.
As the spouse of the haunted, I would have left the haunted alone.
Oh, you would have left... Oh.
I would have left him. I think the day the guy came in and said, oh, it's not the house, it's you.
Yeah, the psychic.
I would have told her, like, we need to get you room and board somewhere.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Away from me.
Be nice meeting you. Let's call the dermatologist. And once you get that sorted out, you can move back in because, we can't afford a burnt down house right now. So, like, I love you and all, or not really. Like, good luck with your future endeavors.
As soon as we establish that whatever this is actually following you, yeah, I love you, boo, but deuces.
Yeah, goodbye.
I'll help you get to where you can get you some help, but yeah, I can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told her you might go stay with your sister, her family for a little bit.
So
if it would be the same situation. Yeah, I'm not gonna stay around, but I'm gonna find a way to get you some help.
Yeah, because I'm nice like that.
From a distance, I'll be on the phone with you.
But what if you're the haunted?
Because I can't do you no good if I'm dead too. If whatever got you was go kill me.
True.
Or how do I know that what's possessing you is not trying to kill me through you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. So let me get you to the professionals, and then we're gonna see what they can work out for you.
Or I just like get a job somewhere else and be like, oh my God, I got a promotion. It was just like out of nowhere. See you in 6 years. Good luck. Bye.
Wow. Okay. What if you
were?
What if you were the hauntee though?
Oh shit.
But see, here's another issue with the film is that they do make the distinction that the house is not haunted, she's haunted. So if that's the case, why can't we see her experience this outside of the house? Why does everything have to center
it's
around
found
this
footage.
But you can't take a camera with her. They can't.
Okay.
She wasn't
somewhere else.
You wanted Toby to go to the grocery store with her?
No, Michael was the one who was into like the recording of everything.
Mhm.
But Donovan has a good point. That could have enhanced their like it could enhance their character development.
Yeah,
You know what
she
I'm
could
saying?
go
She
to the
come
Whole
in,
Foods and the cereal aisle, and the cereal starts flying, and
but
Yeah.
she didn't have to go to the Whole Foods. Or if she did,
Something.
but she could have came home and been like, this crazy thing happened to me today at work. Just something. You know what I'm saying? Like, something. But just come home like, well, turn the light off. Let's go to bed. Like, oh, that's weird. Let's go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, where'd you find that? Oh, that is kind of creepy. Let's go to bed. That's pretty much what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And she came home and like, look, something was like, I felt somebody like smack me upside the back of my head today at my job, and nobody, she just broke down, started crying. They were talking about it, and then he could have been like, well, I found this information, but I went to do some research, or he could have went to the library, or he could have volunteered to go with her to work and just sit there and record her throughout the day, and some stuff happened, something to enhance their, characters. Because you just coming home, it's like no mention of what happened in y'all's lives during the day. I mean, you don't have to say everything, but just if the spirit is really hunting you, why is he only attacking you when you come inside the house?
And when you're asleep.
When you're asleep. It's just like,
It's a rapist spirit.
it's an incubus.
But folks get it
Good
down.
grief.
Folks get it done at the work job and at the grocery store. There might be some, exhibitionists. I don't know. It's just something. Just give us something,
It's like that. Remember that movie Drag Me to Hell?
I loved Drag Me to Hell.
It was pretty much the same thing. She was haunted by a demon, and it followed her everywhere she went. She was at work. She was in her friend's house. She was seeing a psychic. She was like, it was like
At the in-laws.
on her.
I love Drag Me to Hell. So good.
Great, man.
Yeah. And surprisingly very funny.
Very humorous. Yeah.
Yes. So, if spooky stuff is happening in your house, would you get a Ouija board?
For what?
Right.
Like, that's extra money I have to spend for, like, why?
Right. To tell me what I already know.
You already know something's haunting you. Why do you need
Right.
people?
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure they're expensive. Like, no, I don't have money to spend on a demon.
And wasn't this after the psychic made clear this is not a ghost, this is a demon?
Yeah.
So it doesn't want to talk to you. It wants to possess you. Like,
That's why, yeah.
Ugh.
The man told you what to do. Call the demonologist. That's what y'all need to do.
And they didn't do that.
Till the end, he's like, oh, you know what? Let me put some powder on the floor. And if that doesn't work, then we can call him. I'm like,
Powder on the floor?
is
The baby
like,
powder.
Why?
What is the powder on the floor going to do? Is it going to eradicate it or just to sit there
that's how
and
they
show
saw
you?
the footprints, right?
Again, to tell you something you already
know. Exactly. Because all it's going to do is just sit there and just say, yeah, I'm here. Let me stomp on this powder right quick and show you that I'm here. This is the umpteenth time.
Let me stomp on this powder.
And so
That's so good.
all they got to do is do the demonologist.
I'm not gonna lie, like, if I was not believing up until that point, like, that should have made me believe. I'd be like, what the fuck was in this damn house?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, ugh, so stupid. If I was the huntee, I would be drinking, like, holy water like it's tea every day, showering in holy water. Like, I don't even know. Like,
where you getting all this holy water from?
I don't know.
The church?
You get someone to pray on all your pipes.
Pray on your
Isn't that
pipes.
how it
Away by the
works?
gallon.
What?
I said like they're giving it away by the gallon at the church.
Probably. Like, they probably just want to dunk me in it, and I'll be happy to. Like, you know what? Anything anyone wants to do.
Yeah, she needed an exorcism. Bigly.
Yeah, I thought about that life.
Before we end, at least sometime before we end the discussion, I really wanted to talk about the reason why all this went down. Whenever we get a chance. So.
Ooh.
Okay. We'll talk. Let's discuss that in just a moment, because I want to talk first about the actual conclusion of the movie, because the hauntings sort of like escalate at a rapid pace, and Katie gets dragged from her bed. There's a scream from downstairs, Micah gets flung to the damn camera. Then Katie walks in, fully possessed. She goes down on the floor. She sniffs at Micah in a very animalistic fashion. She looks directly at the camera, and her face kind of demonically morphs, and then she lunges at us, or the camera at least. What did y'all think of the conclusion of the movie? And I know that we discussed pacing issues, and a couple of you had problems with the pacing of the movie, but you did sort of reference the ending and how that's sort of like, I guess, where all the good stuff happens. So what did y'all think of the end?
Wait, I need to ask a question.
Yes.
Maybe I got a haunted version, but she cuts her throat in the end, right?
That is the alternate ending, I believe, right?
There is an
Okay.
alternate ending, yes.
I think she
Because
cut her throat. Yeah.
I thought I was going crazy. My sister and I were arguing about this too, because we're like, I don't remember her dying before. And then I watched it again today, and she died, and I'm like, what? So, okay, that makes sense.
Yes,
I think
there are two endings. Which one did I send?
You sent the one with her throat being cut, but I've seen the other one too.
Okay.
So I just thought I was going crazy
Okay.
and today.
Yeah,
You
there
are going crazy.
Well, that
I
is
am.
true. There are two
I'm
endings
crazy.
for the film. There is one where she cuts her throat, and then there's the one where she lunges at the camera.
And they're both bad.
Oh gosh. So
we know what Donovan thinks.
let's talk about the ending. Donovan, you can go first.
I can go first, I think.
Yes, you're welcome.
I mean, both endings are bad. I never saw the one where she cut her throat. But that just doesn't make sense. Why would you possess someone so you can kill them? Like,
Well, the reason that they did the cut the throat ending was that was like, I guess, the happy ending. That was the original ending before sort of like the studio came in and decided to make it like a more vague ending.
this movie.
That's true.
All right. All right. Well, the sequence of events at the end were dumb. I mean, just none of it made sense. They kept ignoring all these warnings and just going back to life like nothing crazy was happening to them. Like, let's just go to bed. Maybe sleep in separate rooms. Maybe like one of you. Why not? Why aren't they mixing it up? Why aren't they trying things to like, you know, what? I mean, every time something happens, Mika just walks into the dark hallway and says, "Where are you? Show yourself." Blah, blah, blah. Like, what are you doing? Y'all aren't doing anything to combat this thing. The guy already came. He told you he's not the one to help you. You need to find somebody else to help you. They didn't find anybody else. They just went to bed, and now they're both dead. And I'm happy they're dead because they were boring people.
Well, damn.
Ooh, okay.
It's not a story worth telling.
It's not a tale as old as time.
It very well may be. It took as long as time to finish.
Mark, tell us about the ending.
The ending was very abrupt. It was like, oh, so this it? Because you was sitting there watching the entire movie waiting for something like big to just go down. And so you get to this, it was so random. You see him go into the hallway, you hear scuffling, or no, you see her get pulled into the hallway, him running down there after her. Then next thing you know, he's flown into the camera. And then here she comes, like you said. It's just like...
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Him getting thrown to the camera, that was a good jump scare. Although it was kind of ruined in the damn commercials.
It really
from
was.
way back in the day, but still, I thought it was still a very effective jump scare.
It was an effective jump scare, but it was just like, that's it. You see what I'm saying? Like, so that's the big scare of the entire movie, because I was waiting for somebody to get their head yanked across the room. You know, she was yanked off the bed. It was kind of funny because like she slipped, and then, but you know, he drug her away. But I was like, that's it. I don't know. Just that's all I got from it. Like, that's it. Like, okay, the demon possessed her, but now what's going to happen? You know, that was it.
She's just going to sit her ass in that house and be born again because the demon is born. It's a boring movie.
And then on top of that, it's like, okay, so if Clay said at the beginning of the movie, thanks to the families of this, and this. Let's thank the families of this person. But it's like, okay, but what did y'all do after that? You know what I'm saying? Give me a blurb about what happened. Like, did they give a blurb at the end of the movie saying like they never saw her or something like that? She went missing something. But it was still like, okay, but y'all want to release this footage to the public? Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, Blair Witch still had a better ending. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Legionnaire.
Yeah, I guess I would have probably have been better served with the ending where he got thrown, because that's not what I saw. So it just ended really strange. It's like, okay, he goes downstairs, he's obviously dead, then she comes up and cuts her throat, and that's it. It's like, oh, okay, there's nothing else. We don't get any sense of what's really happening, or it was just very abrupt and very unsatisfying.
Like the whole movie.
wow.
Cynthia, save us, because I know you approve, I think, more than they do.
See, the thing is...
Cynthia, save the legacy of Paranormal Activity.
Hold on. Since
Oh no,
the
Katie's
first time
calling
I
her.
watched this movie, I've seen it, like, I've always watched the whole thing at once. Like, I just binge watch. So it makes sense altogether. Alone, you're like, what?
Exactly.
But I like the end where she kills herself more than the ending where she disappears into the night. Just because, like, it would make sense that this thing that's been haunting you just wanted to kill you, rather than just, like, wants you to go into the forest and do what
Find
now?
a baby.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe
Hold on, there was an ending where she walked into the forest?
No, I'm just saying, I don't know where she went when she left. So I'm giving her a good, nice
She went to go find Heather from the Blair Witch. She was standing in the corner.
Oh, God. Maybe that's what she did. But yeah, it makes sense that, like, okay, yeah, I killed this guy because it was annoying me as a demon. And now,
I thought you were talking about Micah.
yeah, and now I'm going to kill the person I really came here to kill.
Which is?
I can't remember her name. Her name's very forgettable.
Just like her.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I like the ending.
Do you?
I did. I like the one where she lunges at the camera the most. Because that's the one that I saw in the theater. So that's the one that I was introduced to. And, yeah, like, I liked, it took a long time, without some dope beats to step to. Thank you. Some people caught the reference. But it took... Oh.
Wow.
Wow. But I was going to say, it took forever for this to happen, and I wish that things would have gone, like, batshit crazy, like, sooner. Because if it would have just ramped up just a teeny tiny bit more, like, even, if that whole scene at the end, because, like, sometimes, like, the final scene of a movie can last for a long time. We just experienced that with Scream, where, like, the final scene of the movie is, like, the second half of the movie. It all takes place at Stu's house. So if they would have expanded on that final night, maybe, by at least 10 additional minutes, so that, things slowly would have ramped up on that night, so that the suspense would have built up, versus all of a sudden it's that night. I remember in the theaters, because, like, when people got really into it, like, people got into it. And when she was, like, standing over him, and, like, the hours passed, everyone was like, oh, like, something crazy gonna happen. And it didn't. She was just standing over him for, like, 20
she just
hours.
laid her ass back down and went to bed.
Yes. So, it was a bit merch. But I did enjoy it for what it was. Mark, you wanted to talk a little bit more about the legacy?
Well, kind of just to see the sequel, because that's why I would say the sequel had way better pacing. And like you just said, they'd have, like, because I don't know how long this movie was supposed to take place, like all the tapes and everything. I don't know if it was 2 weeks, a month, but that's just too long for me
5
to be
years.
What?
Keep my 5 years. It's just like if it was like
Felt like 5 years.
it was like if it was 20 like 2 or 3 days.
3 weeks. It was 3 weeks.
It was 3 weeks. If it had been 2 or 3 days, you know, if all this stuff had been ramped up, like by the third day, then you've been like, okay, let's call. No, by the second day you call, or the third day you call a demonologist or whoever, you come over, and then like Jeff said earlier, like the last 2 nights or something like that, like they probably couldn't get out the house or something like that, and then they just like have all this stuff happen to them. The demons constantly playing with them, and you can see that sanity slowly like being taking its toll. You know what I'm saying? So but it seems to me like they learned their lesson in the second movie, and spoiler for whoever's not seen the second movie, but it just seemed like a lot more stuff was going on. The young daughter, the teenage daughter in that movie,
Oh, poor child.
she was proactive. She went and said, no, this is what's going on. Their maid was the one who got some information. I think she was the one who pretty much saved them. But I just want to talk about this part of the second movie because it made the first movie, it made up for a lot of the vague, unknown backstory for the first movie. The whole demon, they made a deal with the demon when they was kids, and the demon, he said something like pretty much, your firstborn child is mine when he is born. They just, because I think Katie's sister was possessed in that movie. And so, but then they was trying to get the kid. And so the husband and the daughter and the Bruja side is like, you know what, let's send it to Katie. Now that was the shadiest move in horror movie history up to that point because I was like, so she just all of a sudden woke up when this demon was attached to her. And I thought that was the shadiest moment in horror movie history up to that point because it made so much sense for why everything was just so vague because they didn't know what was going on. Katie's memory was blanked out, and it just made the most sense. That's why I say they both had to be watched together. And I think that the second movie is a way better movie than the first one. That's why I compare it to The Godfather, because a lot of people say Godfather 2 is like, you know, the best one out of the whole series. So, but I was going to just mention that because, again, if you just walked at this movie and was like, I don't care no more, I understood because it doesn't explain much. But if you watch the second movie and then go back and watch the first movie, it all makes so much more sense.
And then just watch all the movies while you're at it, Donovan.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
And much like in 3 Men and a Baby, the ghost of Marlon Brando makes a cameo.
I can't with you.
You don't know about the ghost in 3 Men and a Baby?
Yeah,
There
but it
was
wasn't
no
on the
ghost. It was a cutout of Ted Danson.
Have you seen it close up? That shit don't look nothing like Ted Danson.
It was a cutout of Ted Danson.
Were you there?
Yes, I was the baby.
You were the baby.
I'm just glad these people died. I would have been at their funeral like no one cared.
Oh
Glad
my
they're
God.
dead. They were so boring.
Oh my God, I can't.
I paid my money to watch this.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. All right. Let's check to see if Paranormal Activity has won any awards. And, unfortunately for Donovan, it has.
Awards are crap. What do awards mean? Nothing.
Donovan,
Okay.
don't be salty.
Don't be like that.
Salty.
In the year 2010, it won a Teen Choice Award for Choice Movie Horror Thriller. And it was nominated for Choice Movie Actor Horror Thriller, Micah Sloat.
Ew, really?
Wow.
Over
You
at,
see what that award is worth.
I think it's like a surfboard, so, you know, it has a dual purpose. In 2007, at Screamfest, it won the festival trophy, Best Actress, Katie Featherston. And
I
it
swear the
won,
demon was a better actor.
and it won honorable mention, Oren Peli, for the director. And what's the other win? I think those are all the wins. Yeah, 3 wins. It was nominated for Scream Awards, for Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards. It was nominated for a People's Choice Award, Favorite Independent Movie, and for an MTV Movie Award for Best Scared as Shit Performance. Although shit has 2 asterisks in it because it's MTV and they're trying to be edgy. Katie Featherston was nominated for that. And it was also nominated for a Fangoria Chainsaw Award in the year 2010, Best Wide Release Film. Oh, this is funny. Donovan will like this. At the 2010 Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, it had 2 nominations. The first nomination, Best Wide Release Film. The second nomination, Worst Film.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We should have took that one, huh?
It's just nominated. Okay, and over on Rotten Tomatoes, in their fresh meter, this is 83% fresh. Certified fresh, baby.
See, how this has a fresh rating and Saw does not is beyond me.
It's not Suspiria, though.
True.
Suspiria was decent.
What?
No. Compared to this. At least stuff happened.
Oh, and this shares with Suspiria because there are witches in this one.
Oh, damn witches.
Much later on in the series, right, Mark?
Yeah. You need to watch the whole thing.
The
Not
third
watching
movie,
it.
There's a coven and everything.
that shocked me because I'm like, that's why I was saying the mythology just gets richer until it gets to the point where it doesn't pay off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In the Spanish version, there are brujas.
Yes.
It's just Spanish for witch.
Yes.
Yeah. But let's hand out our own awards because those are the ones that really count, not Fangoria and all that kind of stuff. So, the creepiest moment.
Ooh.
I don't have one. I'm sorry.
I just want to hear what y'all got to say. What was creepy about this movie?
Wait, it could be like at the end when he brings her back to bed or she finds her way back into bed and he's like, oh, let's go. The car's packed. And she's like, no, let's stay. I'm happy here.
She said it just like that.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, it got her. And she's happy. So I knew something was about to go down, even though it was like 3 minutes till the end.
That demon was all up in her guts.
So the creepiest movie came 3 minutes before the movie ended.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna give it to like the stomping noises and the paw prints, the hooves, and the baby powder.
For me, I guess I would give it this. I would give it the fact that when the doctor or whatever told her the house is not haunted, it's you. Now that's creepy because
That was also the read of the night.
Child.
Yes, that's clearly the read.
These filmmakers getting y'all to sit through this.
Hashtag hater.
You know what's also creepy? You know the second time he comes in and he's like, yeah, I shouldn't be here. They're not happy that I'm here. Goodbye.
That was another read.
Well, see, here's my thing. Why were they unhappy that you were there if you couldn't, like, if they knew you were no threat to them, why would they care?
Again, it's a rapist demon who doesn't want other men around his thing.
He's also part goat.
Yeah, so he's just like, yeah, this is my female. All males are not welcome. And so, like, yeah, that's my theory.
Or
Demon goat.
He wasn't that threatened by Micah, though. But, I mean, there's probably other reasons.
Micah said they could have sex in 10 minutes. I don't think anyone should be threatened by that.
Definitely not a selling point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Sometimes you've just got to bust.
Depends on what you in the mood for. I mean, it can be...
No, never.
Essentially,
Not ever.
Okay.
And he's like,
right.
I was reading the another alternate ending that I'd never seen, which would have probably been a very much better ending.
She walks into the woods?
No, I think she ends up killing Micah, and then her friend comes over, her friend calls her, but she's still in the room. And then you hear the friend come downstairs to the house, scream, run out. Then the cops show up, and the cops end up killing her when she approaches them with the bloody knife. And that seemed like it had more action than the other two endings did. But that's me is
I know
shocked.
whole movie did.
But
That
it's
was
severely unrealistic.
Yeah, I just gave you a truncated version of what I just read. So,
No, I'm just comparing it to real life.
It's not that unrealistic.
'Cause
Did
it's-
you hear about that lady that got shot when she complained to the cops, and then the cops arrived? She went to the front door,
yeah.
tapped on the window, and they shot her through the window.
Oh,
Yeah, these streets are rough.
the moment that made you gag. Donovan, the whole movie.
How do you mean get gag and disgust that I just wasted my time on this? Yes, I was very gagged.
You need to practice.
No comment. I'm not commenting on that. I'm not touching that.
Just that's what Katie said every night to Micah.
I'm not touching that.
I'm not touching
Well,
that.
if it was with Micah, then no practice needed because you know it will be done in 10 minutes.
wow.
Mm.
I'm telling y'all, 10 minutes is a long time depending on what
For the whole thing, though?
Not the whole
Right.
thing. No, not the whole thing.
Just
'Cause
the
he
just
didn't
the
seem
head.
like- yeah, he didn't seem like he was in a mood to like, let's do this now. So I guess that's a slow-paced 10 minutes.
The most shocking moment.
He's saying he only needed 10 minutes.
That wasn't shocking.
I'm sorry.
Cynthia. That's when Cynthia walked out. She was
That
like,
is,
"Nah."
yeah. She was like, no, this ain't realistic for me.
I honestly will say the hooves or the hooves or whatever was the only semi-interesting part of the movie because I'm like, oh, it's an actual hooved demon walking around their house. But there's no payoff ever at any point.
Yeah, but you know what I didn't get to? Like, is it a demon with 2 legs that just happen to have hooves? Or is it like a centaur kind of demon? And if it is a centaur, where's the other 2 back legs?
Well, there are minotaurs.
Okay, that's a thing too.
They don't have the back half.
Actually, none of these are things, but okay.
Oh my gosh. You didn't watch American Horror Story Coven. It's a thing.
I did. And I
thing.
watched the Roanoke one, and I think there was some similar sort of beast in that as well.
No, that one was the piggy man.
I thought it was like something with horns.
It was a pig.
I think there was another demon in that one. I do think there was another demon in there.
And the kill of the night.
No one died on camera.
I guess it'd be
Except
like
for Michael.
Micah, I guess.
I mean, but we don't know that he's dead.
No, he's dead.
He didn't live on for the sequels. Besides the flashbacks.
You don't know that until the sequels.
Well, that is true too. Alright, my peoples, now it's time to rank this movie in our special Horror Hotel categories.
God.
This is going to be fun, I can already tell. We've got The Screamer for films that are filled with scares, Gutbuster, films that are grotesque, Eye Popper, films that are visually impressive, Gravedigger, films that lack scares, and Mind Blower for overall best in show. And I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off and go with Donovan first.
I mean, obviously, Gravedigger. There was nothing in this that was scary, creepy, interesting. It was like sipping on a bowl of tap water.
Is it
I bet you
like
did.
lukewarm tap water or ice cold?
Room temperature.
Oh.
Just nothing.
Legionnaire?
Oh, I would have to give it a Grave Digger as well. I think anything that could have been scary was just diluted by the fact that it took us forever to get there.
Legionnaire did not like the scenic route.
Mm.
Cynthia Boyede?
I would give it a mind blower watching it with all the other movies. So like a binge watch mind blower.
Of like
Was
every
it just-
single one? Even the
Yeah,
marked ones? I love
you
the
could
marked
skip
ones.
that if you're sleepy, if you're getting tired, you could skip it. But yeah, just like watch it with the rest and then you understand why it's so great. It sucks alone. And if you're planning to watch just one Donovan, then it sucks. But if you're watching it with everything else, then you're like, okay, that makes sense. Now I remember why this is so great.
So I got to watch 6, 7 hours of content just so I can find 1.5 hours of content relevant.
You could just watch. Oh wait, so you could watch 4 hours of content to find the 1.5 relevant.
We're going to visit Donovan on Halloween, and we're going to tie him to the chair and make him watch every single Paranormal Activity movie
Now
ever
that's a
created.
nightmare.
Now Donovan might sit there and pop a side-eye peel in his damn tongue and sit there bite the
We'll
joke.
give him a saw, and we'll see what happens.
Child, I cut off both feet.
Mm.
That's deep. That's very deep.
It's not that bad. Might as well just watch the movies. In the time it takes you to saw off both feet,
He'll
you'd
put
be
me in
done.
that room full of razor wire and put this movie on. My ass would be halfway to the door, bled out.
That would hurt Cynthia's feelings.
I'm sad. I was hoping we'd watch this movie together. All 6 of them. Wait, 7?
It's six.
Yeah.
Oh, you know there's going to be another one. Like,
Yeah.
now that they are revitalizing Saw,
Exactly.
they're going to revitalize this one. Because it was almost like one year it was Saw, then the next year was Paranormal, then one year was Saw. I think they even, like, were released at some point, both of them in the same month.
I
It felt
think
like.
that was the first movie and the last Saw movie. I could be wrong though, because Paranormal Activity took over the Saw.
Oh, okay, well, it was something like that, yeah, where, like, one bled into the other one, basically.
Mhm.
Paranoid Saw.
Oh, that
Imagine
might
if
be
they
kind of
did it
good.
together.
Yes, Katie and Billy the Puppet have a baby.
Ooh.
Mark, what about you? Your categories, please.
It's Mind Blow's best in show, right?
Yes.
Okay. Gravedigger.
Oh God, no! I was expecting
Bum,
better.
ba-dum.
Wait. Gravedigger, yet it's a best in show because of what it did for the found footage. The reason I give it the best in show at Gravedigger is because, again, I feel like it set up the more superior, better movie, which was the sequel / it was a parallel sequel because it was a parallel sequel to this movie right here, and I feel like it's set up for that one. But standalone Gravedigger, because I was just like, okay, who cares? By the end of the movie, because I felt duped. I mean, I was excited for the movie. I was so excited for it, and after the movie ended, I was like, oh, that was a creepy end. Like you sitting there just looking like, wait a minute. Hold up, and then all the stuff started popping up, and you're like, okay, stop, because you tell yourself to stop overanalyzing stuff and just enjoy the movie, but you can't, and that's what happened to me, and that's why I was like, oh, it's a Gravedigger. So
Someone actually took me to the movies as a date to watch this movie. I guess he was hoping I'd get scared and like lean close and he'd cup a feel, but yeah, it wasn't that scary. So nothing happened.
Child, it ain't got to be scary for him to cop a feel.
Especially if
He
he's
was
got
young.
10 minutes for you. I'm bucking the trend, and I'm going to give it a screamer. Not necessarily because it was terrifying, but the first time that I saw it in theaters, it was creepy. Like, a couple of the jump scares did get me, which I liked.
The jump scares that took place in the theater when the people jumped up out their seats to leave, or the jump scares?
Well, that was fascinating,
That's it.
observing that. But like the lunging at the camera, and there were like the couple moments at the end when she lunged at the camera when I was in the theaters. I didn't know what the hell was going on. So it was creepy enough for me because I like a good sort of haunted house, spooky house, demonic possession story, and so I liked that aspect of it. Seeing it later, like after seeing it the first time, you don't really get the same type of feel.
Hmm.
So I can see how seeing it again, the scare factor wasn't really there, but the storyline was still creepy enough for me. And mind blower just because of the whole found footage legacy. And this, for some people fortunately, for some people unfortunately, spawning so many found footage movies. I mean, so many. So many. The Devil Inside.
There
Now
it is.
it is time to rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10. Hotel room keys, the point system is allowed. And yes, I'm ripping the band-aid off first. Donovan.
1, because 0's not a number.
Ugh.
I just have a thing, like,
1 is the loneliest number.
look, all right, so I explained this earlier. A film can be bad if it wants to be, but do not bore me, because then you're just wasting my time. The fact that nothing in this movie happened until the very end, so you're essentially left with two characters, and the characters they give you for this duration are so boring, and not just boring, but annoyingly so. So it's just, there was nothing in this film that could save it pretty much for me. And these like jump scares at the end, I don't care. It's like, whatever. By that time, I got my purse and I'm walking towards the, like, you ever been in a theater where I rarely walk out of movies, but I will collect my things and stand at the exit and wait for the last 5 minutes to be over, just so that as soon as it's done, I could get to the door. Like, this would be one of those movies for me.
You didn't like the bug in the beginning?
I don't want no damn bug.
Legionnaire.
I'm
There's
going
only
to
one way to
score-
go, and that's up with Legionnaire. Maybe.
I'm gonna score this one I'm gonna score it at 5.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and that's being generous.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go next. I'm trying to do it in order, but I'm not forcing y'all to like pick a higher number. But I feel like I'm going in the right direction where I'm going sequentially, maybe. I'm going to give it a 7.5. Because the first time around, when I saw it in the movie theaters, I did enjoy it. Like, seeing it afterwards, I mean, it has a lot of faults to it. And I agree with the rest of you that I don't think you necessarily need to see the other movies, but if you want to enjoy the mythology, or if you want to, like, learn a little bit more about what's going on, you do kind of have to see the other movies to, or at least a couple of them, to, like, sort of understand the mythos that they're building in the Paranormal Activity franchise. Personally, I did like the Marked Ones. I thought the Marked Ones was a really good movie, but also it tangentially deals with like the KE possession drama. So it kind of is its own story that explains other stuff. But that's neither here nor there because we're not talking about the Mark Ones. So yeah, so 7.5. I do like the ending. I like all the creep factors, even though Donovan would disagree, and Legionnaire would too. But I thought it was creepy enough, and yeah, so I'm gonna give it 7.5. Cynthia.
Ooh. Well, okay. I just want to do a disclaimer of my own.
Oh, I like it.
If I give another movie a 10, don't judge that movie, please. And thank you. That's all I'm going to say now. I'm giving this movie a 10.
Oh.
I'm expecting it. If you're coming with those room keys, you better bring the rest of the movie along with you. If not, you can just return 5 of the room keys back. But I'm giving it a 10 because it's like one of like, it's a family favorite too for my family because we're weird people. And it's just good together. If you're alone and lonely and you want to see a movie that would scare you enough to go out, this can do it. Like all 6 of them will do it for you. So it's just great. I like Paranormal Activity. It's sweet and funny and annoying and scary at times. It's great. Micah deserves to die,
Oh,
but it's
wow.
great. And that's all I'm going to say.
Cynthia, I was not expecting that from you, but that was a nice little hashtag plot twist.
Eh.
Yes, but I love how you
Mm.
left me out there to dry when I was talking about it being scary. Because the Bobbsey twins were judging me
I'm
for
sorry.
for saying it was creepy. I'm just
See, I'm
saying.
Nigerian. Spiritual stuff scares us because Nigeria is very religious and we believe in all these things.
I know.
So,
And you
that's,
were possessed as a child.
yes, I was. Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously possessed. I think the demon sometimes is still lurking around, but yeah, you're right. Wait, I have to check behind me.
I don't know what's going on. Mark, what about you?
I'm gonna give it 7 hotel keys. Only because, like Cynthia said, I'm putting in, we are discussing paranormal activity, but I cannot talk about that movie with anybody, including this panel, without talking about paranormal
Ruining
activity
the other
2.
ones.
But just 2, because I feel like that's what everything made. It was a more cohesive story, and it's like to me. It was a 2 is a more cohesive story. It enhanced the viewing of the first movie. Personally, I feel like you only have to watch the first 3 and the marked ones, because 4 was just horrible, and 6 just left me disappointed because the last one, and it was just a regular movie. You know, if you're going out, go all balls to the wall, with it. But they just was like, here's another movie, and it's the end. And I'm like, bullshit.
Well, because I don't think they thought it was going to be the last one.
Well, they should not
Allegedly.
have advertised it as such.
It'll be
That's all I'll
back
say.
in 5 years.
Well, I don't know if I'll be back. That's
Oh.
the thing. But the first one, I give it a 7, only because it produced a way better sequel, and of its, how I rank stuff here. I honor its contribution to the horror genre, and I'll be lying if I say it didn't affect the found footage genre. It didn't. I mean, the subgenre, and that it didn't, put horror on the map. It was at least something for people to look forward to on Halloween every year. It was a staple. It's a staple in the horror community, and I would be amiss if I didn't acknowledge that as a student of the horror genre.
So take that, Bobsey
Wow.
twins.
Ooh.
No, I
That
don't
wasn't
know.
a read to y'all. I'm just saying.
To Jeff, everything's a read, even when it's not a read.
It was read adjacent.
Read adjacent? No, I'm going to have to start using that one. That was a read adjacent when I talk to my family members.
Yeah. Donovan, I heard you have roaches in your bathroom.
What?
Don't play with me.
Yeah. No, that's a whole drama.
No, I know what it is.
Instagram. Oh, it's so stupid. All right, everybody. On that note, please drag your bodies away from the ballroom and prepare to check out. Join us next time for a brand new installment of Horror Hotel. Once again, here's one of our bellhops with a few special announcements.
Good evening. We thank you for your patronage. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Horror Hotel. Follow Panpichulo Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube at Panpichulo Radio. For more information on Horror Hotel, visit panpichuloradio.com/Horror Hotel. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@panpichuloradio.com. Help support Panpichulo Radio financially by visiting gofundme.com/panpichuloradio. Are you interested in joining the Panpichulo Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@panpichuloradio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Panpichulo Radio programs by visiting panpichuloradio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Panpichulo Radio's Horror Hotel, and subscribe. We hope you've brought your death certificate. Make final arrangements now.
Thank you. My fellow Horror Hotel team, please wish our hotel guests and the listeners a good night.
Good night,
I'm
listeners.
happy here.
Good night. Sorry y'all had to sit through this.
Ooh.
Wow. Excuse you. They came here for my voice.
Oh, Cynthia.
I meant the movie.
Cynthia, say goodnight to Katie.
Night, Katie, friend. See you tomorrow night.
Thanks for tuning in. You may have checked into the Horror Hotel, but who says you're allowed to check out? Good night.